Hello, this is Heather Gates, and I welcome you to the Stand in the And podcast, where we have honest conversations about the messy complexity of the human experience, where we get stuck, and how we find forward in the and of it all where many things are true at once. This podcast is designed especially for those of us who want to make things more beautiful and better for everyone, and sometimes need reminding that we are human too. I'm so glad you're here. We should start the podcast. Before I continue.
Contender.
Well, that was a mashup.
I know, I like it.
Of what, do you think? What do you think I was going to say?
Continue and render? I don't know.
Ponder.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say before we keep pondering, but I mushed it together because I got excited. Or nervous.
Which I love, and tensions is a great word.
Okay. Let's talk about and tensions for a second. Sarah Banks, who's been on the podcast,
Listen to that episode.
is actually the one who invented the word and tensions. Like to be intentional, but to be and tensional.
Right, I know.
I am actually on the podcast not talking about and tensions like she is. I'm trying to say and tensions, like the tensions in the and.
Oh.
It's a little bit different, but everybody, including Sarah, thinks I'm saying and tensions. Including you.
Including me. I was like, this is a great word.
So good. Happy accident.
Have intentions with your andness.
Okay.
Whether it happened on purpose or not doesn't matter.
Well, there you go. Just trust the process. All right. We should do this. Also, before we start, I've been recovering from a cold and have some I feel like I have
Check 1, 2, Mike.
Not balls.
Emily, check 1, 2.
Yeah.
1, 2, check.
Yes, Emily, we wish you were here. All right. Welcome back to the podcast, y'all. At the table with me today is my longtime friend and singer-songwriter, Eric Erdman. Grateful to have you today.
I'm grateful to be here.
Thanks for passing by sort of on your way home.
Yeah, I was in Wake Forest last night playing, and it wasn't, too far the way. Although I would drive to, Alaska to be on your podcast.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Always good to have fans. As you know, speaking of fans, introduce yourself to the people.
I am a songwriter from Mobile, Alabama. Well, Mobile, Alabama is where I get my mail, but I'm basically a citizen of the road. I live touring and going to Nashville to write. I spend much more time in Nashville than I do anywhere else. But that's it. I've been a lifer musician, playing gigs and writing songs.
So did you say you're you primarily identify as a songwriter at this point?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And the singing part is just kind of, we have to sing a song to write a song.
I love to perform, and it's definitely two different crafts, but I've always played gigs, and they're kind of self-sustaining. Mm-hmm. And I would feel something missing if I weren't doing that. But it's like I don't have to actively work at that. Like I feel like I am a songwriter who gets to play gigs. If they all dried up, I would make some actions to have more of them because they do fulfill me.
And that's not always been the story, though, right? So early on, it was more like you were gigs and cover stuff, and how has that changed over?
Well, I always wanted to do what I'm doing right now. So, but it's just like you can't just start with a 1,000-song catalog and have people care about them or know them. So you just do what you have to do to get in the door. So early on, it was not as many original singer-songwriter gigs, even though that was the goal and the intention.
Nice. Did you say that on purpose? Yes, nice. You can laugh. I feel like you're about to pass out. Way to work that in. That's for you, Sarah Banks. That was an intentional use of intention. That's right. We'll allow you to stay.
Okay, thank you.
Ashley will decide if it gets to stay or not. The ultimate boss will decide. So it's changed a little bit, but not because your vision for it changed, just because that's the process that got you there.
I feel like it. Yes, I mean, I always this was the hope. Where I'm at now, I'm in the amazing spot. Actually, you caught me in a
on the upside,
a beautiful era of my arc.
And when you say always, like you've had this vision for what you're going to be up to since you were pretty little.
Yeah.
What's the earliest you remember? And like, what was the dream?
At my cousin's wedding, the band took a break and my mom could not find me. I was the ring bearer at the wedding. And when she couldn't find me because I had crawled onto the stage and tried to grab the microphone.
How old was this?
3.
What?
So I always loved performing and, music, obviously. And then at about 8, my brother and I and our 3 next door neighbors, we just like to make songs. So since I was 8 years old, we've been creating songs.
I didn't realize you had been doing this since you were so young.
We would sit around the old tape recorder and, with the red and black button.
Sweet.
And that was my introduction to it.
And how old were you when you got your first, like somebody paid you money to sing a song?
I would have been like 16, maybe.
And y'all were songwriting way before, like that's
8 years. I was a veteran at that point.
Y'all would get together and make stuff up.
Yeah, but we were just doing it because
it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And it has remained fun.
And you've continued to just show up and let it be fun this whole time. It's always fascinating to me as somebody who has, a few core ones, but then any given day, some other deep interest, how focused your interest has been your whole life and your whole career, laser focused, and how, it's just interesting to see how all that kind of has poured into one direction.
Well, that's the interesting thing because I've listened to this podcast because it's your podcast. I also think it's really a really good podcast. It does
Well,
it just
thank you.
I'm not pandering to you. I really enjoy it, and I think it has something for a lot of people, including myself. And when you asked me to be on here, I was honored, but I was thinking like, what and am I standing in? Because I'm singularly focused and have been my entire life.
Yeah.
But I will have to say, I fully, lashed myself to the mast of music at an early age and said, whatever I have to do to get there. But in order to get where I've been, it's a whole lot of
like what? Like what would you name? Some of the ands you feel like you've had to stand in to be on this journey.
Stylistic or not, like not being in charge of what the path has to look like. That's the thing. It's like I need to be in charge of showing up and intentionally like putting myself to work. And but the opportunities that will present themselves are nothing that you would ever imagine. So I have played in the Buddy Rich Big Band, which I had no vision of being doing anything in that world at all. I've played with Nadira Shakur in the R&B aspect. I've played with Carly Simon and Radney Foster. And I'm not saying that to brag on who I've played with. I'm saying starting out at 16, you couldn't have, there's nothing in my mind that would have ever put me on that path. But because I was showing up every day, because I was serving the greater music umbrella.
Right.
And then those through the process allowed me to get to where I am doing the thing that I dreamed of at this point.
And a lot of ants my curiosity there is like, it's both, I've been focused and open or focused on the big picture and not on the detail.
1,000,000%.
So there's that piece. And even on the dream itself, right? I'm focused and open to what the dream is. Not just I'm open to the process, but I'm going to let the thing kind of take on a form of its own too. So holding that tension of I'm showing up every day to water the orchid.
Yes.
And a little unattached. And what's interesting about that unattachment, right? So much of it is kind of a disconnect from, or like surrendering to the uncertainty. In my industry, often we use uncertainty kind of feeling like a scary thing. But in your case, like there's uncertainty about like what awesome stuff might be or what might come.
It's an exciting mystery
you
get.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be uncertain as well. I mean,
in some hard times. So let's not sugarcoat, because you are a very sunny side up human.
No, without a doubt, there's been tough times. I mean, it's not a great thing, but there were many times I slept in my car because I was in Nashville and I needed to write it with these people. And, I had $300 in the checking account. And I could have gotten a hotel room if I wanted to spend
and have $0
of my money in the world. I mean, so like, I'm not trying to say everything's peachy.
Yeah.
But it's, if you show up, there's plenty, and everybody does it differently too, maybe more so than any other industry. So I'm not saying my way is correct by
no one on this podcast saying that their way is the right way. We're just showing up to say, here's how we're figuring it out.
But because some of my favorite musicians and songwriters, they feel like either the muse speaks to me today or we don't write a song. Like, it's just, I get drawn to it or nothing. And they're brilliant, and I wouldn't want them to change a thing. But for me, I felt like I'm not in control. If people resonate with my songs, I try real hard, but I'm putting it into the universe. It's a message in a bottle. It has to do with the ocean, not with me. Like, I'm trying to put it out there, and hopefully somebody resonates with it. I can't fully control that, but I can show up and I can do something.
Yeah.
So I felt like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't get to call myself a carpenter and then just wait until I feel like building a house. I get up and build another house the next day. And that's how I've always approached it. And
it's definitely not, it's an interesting curiosity. I mean, we've had one specific podcast on creativity so far, but this just, what is your discipline around your craft? I mean, an example, we were just talking about this. You have written a song. I mean, you're writing songs all the time, but your Fresh Song Fridays, for example,
right,
where every Friday you have decided I don't even know where the idea came from, but once upon a time, you're like, I'm going to release a song every Friday. That is an intense.
It's pretty intense
amount of output. And especially as somebody who's trying to create content now too, at least for me, like lives and things don't work out. But like, however you have figured out to rain or shine or tech glitches or however you patch it together, you're writing and you're releasing every Friday. You're disciplined for the craft, like is what you're just saying, right? It's not like
exactly
I'm not feeling it today. And I don't know if you get in those spots. You seem to stay pretty inspired, but I imagine there are days where you're like, I could really use some sleep or something different.
For sure. I mean, that's exactly how I approach it. It's a craft. So I want to be better at the craft. I don't care how many thousands of songs I've written, and I'm fortunate enough to be writing with people I really look up to and I'm inspired by. And it's like
me, for example.
That's exactly right.
I'll take that compliment.
But it's back to that thing. Like, that's the part I could control. I can show up and stand in it and really work at it and get better. Of course, there's seasons where it's a little less fertile than others, and when the muse strikes, like it does for my other friends, that's a gold mine. That's even better because you've already worked to where you have the mental dexterity they say it's a muscle. I don't know what that, but it's a habit. So because I think a lot of creativity, you can get in your head a lot where you're not sure if what you're doing is valid, or you're not sure if that's the way you should twist it, and you're not sure, and you're not sure, and you're not sure. Well, when you do it all the time, those voices get really quiet, so that when the muse hits, it's like you don't second guess yourself. It's like I do what it's noon on Tuesday. Of course I'm writing a song.
Yeah. And I do think there's just that back to voices in your head, because I think everybody listening can relate to those kind of things that come up. And there's nothing like evidence and history to quiet the voices, right? When that comes up for you and it's like, I don't know if this matters. And you're like, well, I've written a jillion songs before and a bajillion people care about it, so it's probably going to be okay, right? Versus when you're starting out, maybe that's harder.
Right.
Seems like that would be a lot easier and to stand in now. And also, it just seems to me like you're a bit detached from the other side, the result side anyway. So you're like, doesn't really matter to me if anybody likes it.
Well,
I mean, yes and no. That's another and,
there's
right?
There's a lot of ands in my world, and that's another one. So I am writing something that gives me peace and makes me feel good about what I've lived through. And I hope someone out there has felt the same thing and been unable to say that, so that I'm helping them get something off of their chest.
Because it's always been, I think that's an important point, is even though you love the craft, as I recall, it always is about sharing it. There's something about this process that for you does not feel complete unless it's out.
Well, again, another and it's both. I have songs that are my darlings that I play, and the crowd's like, eh. And so it doesn't make me dislike the song or think the song is less. It's like, oh, that's the one I'll play when I'm in my living room.
Right.
these other ones I thought were pretty good, and they just love them to death. I'm like, well, that's the one that's helping them with something. So it makes me love that song more than I did.
On that day, yeah, on that day, and they changed. So, yeah, but it's always been about, I mean, I guess maybe since you were 3, wanting to hold the mic, is to make music, but to share it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why, like, recently, I've been fortunate enough to, get a couple gold records and a Grammy nomination, these things that I could never have dreamed of. And it's like, that has nothing to do with patting me on the back. I don't need it. That's not,
Right.
that really, I mean, thanks,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah.
that's not why I do it. I mean, provably, I did it for 25 years without them, and I was still going to do it the next day anyway. But it shows, it's a mark that many people heard
Yeah.
the thing you created. And
Just
that
what you
does
wanted.
matter to me, because
Right.
that is the goal. That is the
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah. It just, right. I mean, to have been doing it that long, it's a striking journey to be that committed for that long. Right. And almost it's an interesting, like, what else would you do? It's such a part of you. It's like, well, I can't not do it.
Right.
When something's been like, that's such your identity, really. You're like, there's not an option for me not to do this. And you're also not just kind of sitting around and letting that tend to itself. There's this real ritual and practice around it. The discipline, I think, is just an interesting, because we don't think about that a lot in creativity.
Well, it's hard to
and my creativity doesn't work that way. I'll just say this right now. Like, I am a water the orchid, show up every day with work, but I can't discipline creativity. I'm more like, when it comes, and I'll create, like, part the calendar and make space to receive it, but it just doesn't work that way for me, this was interesting for that reason.
I can't, you can't you can't analyze history to this point that I'm about to say. So who knows how it would have gone differently. But I was already loving music. Clearly, I was already writing music, but it wasn't on my mind at all that it was going to be my career at all. Like, even up through college, like, it was something that was really fun to do while I was going to go get my quote unquote real job doing, whatever it was.
We'll come back to that, because I do have a question about what you thought that was going to be.
So I don't know, but in my teens, I had bone cancer that really could have, was potentially taking me out. Like, it was like, that was still on the table as an option. And
how old were you?
14. And so they were like, best case scenario, you're going to lose your foot. But it still potentially might be the end. And that's what we were told. And so I think that really galvanized something that I was like, do what you love hardcore, like, go hardcore, whatever it is. So I was still, didn't think this dream that I'm living now was an option. So I was doing the thing that I thought could make me a career while fully loving music. And then once music was like, oh no, this is a viable career, it's like, well, there is no option, that this is it. Once I realized I could sustain myself, even if I had to sleep in the car a couple times.
Right. Sustain means something differently over time. You're like, I'm going to do it, pour everything I can.
But I do think that was a factor anyway,
your teenager
having to look at it and go, well, how are you going to spend whatever time you have?
I do. I forget that it's part of your story.
So it really, again, without it, who knows? I mean, I loved music so much that in college, if the music took off like it did, I probably would have just enjoyed doing it. And I can't say for sure I wouldn't have done it, but
I know
it definitely put a little thing in my heart of, we're not guaranteed any time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is just your approach to life and living is so kind of wide open and present and go with it that it's hard to not imagine. It's I can't think too hard about it. I mean, that's the age my kids are, and like how that would change everybody.
Yeah.
So people at this point might be wondering why, where is this path led us? You and I have known each other from that point you just mentioned in college, where maybe you thought, and this is where I actually don't know the answer. At the time I was studying biomedical science.
Mm-hmm.
You were studying math, as I recall.
Statistics, yeah.
Statistics. And I'm sure we just crossed paths doing nerdy studying things and talking about juxtaglomerular apparatus and other things like that.
Yeah.
Did you think you were gonna what did you imagine you were gonna do with a statistics degree?
I wasn't 100% sure. Well, so actually,
and how does one even decide they want to study statistics in the first
here,
place?
this is the real deal. I have an older brother, and he was like the guiding star. I did not have a great father. My brother was kind of the person I looked up to as a male figure in my life, and everything he did, I just did. He played music, I played music. He wrote songs, I played, everything. I was just going. So he went.
He's the blueprint.
To the University of South Alabama.
Go Jags.
Go Jags to get he got a biology major and then went to med school and became a doctor. And I was like, I'm going to South Alabama to get a biology degree and then become a doctor.
Okay.
Music was happening at the end of high school and starting there, where I was playing gigs and getting some popularity and getting on the radio. So like all of us, I had to take Stats 101 as a prerequisite. So I took that. I was like, this is kind of not fun. I don't enjoy this. This is really the boring part of math. And then I was going about music that next semester, took Stats 102 just to get it over with. Well, somewhere in the middle of that, I was like acing it. I was getting like 100s on everything. And the professor was like, he said, we have a grant program that you should go sign up for at the department because you have a really good understanding of this. And I was like, I'm not sure. And I was like, what kind of jobs could you get with this? Biostatistics, or you could do actuary stuff, or you could do this. I'm like, I don't know. But he was like, go over there. It'll be good. And I was like, I'm a college kid. I'll go over there. And it's all seniors and me as a freshman. I was like, they're not giving me this grant. They gave me the grant. And I was like, huh. So I got the grant. And then they were like, well, since
to do what? Is this like a scholarship?
It's like they basically gave you money to like do data crunching. It was not like super great. But they said, well, if you're going to do this for the next semester, we have a stats computing class. You should take that. So it'll help you understand.
Wrapped up in
They weeded me into the stats program. And then somewhere along the process, music really started taking off. And it was quicker for me to get out of college with a stats degree than a biology degree.
Oh, you're like, I'm already taking a bunch. We'll just finish it with this. So it was more opportunistic than planned.
But I did learn to really enjoy stats. The first 2 stats class are horrible no matter where you're at.
Right. Chemistry's the same way.
But once you see past the curtain, it's like, oh, this is everyday applicable math.
I felt exactly the same way. Well, on the other side of organic, but like biochem and all that stuff where it starts to make sense. Okay. So it was never like, I'm going to go be a math guy.
No, I was going to be a doctor. And then they weeded me into the stats program, and it was the quickest way to get a degree.
You did graduate.
Yeah.
And you use your stats degree all the time.
Not one single day.
That's not true. I feel like your brain, though, is still wired to take, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not going to pretend because I don't know enough about stats to draw any conclusions.
I don't know that I've written any songs that haven't math related.
I mean, maybe it's a real missed opportunity because this podcast audience is probably really here for that.
Okay, well,
so if you
there's always time. Okay. Maybe this is the inspiration.
Yeah, you just needed a muse, and it was statistics, and you've been missing it the whole time.
That's it.
So, yeah, I've known you for, that would have been the late 90s when you say it that way.
Back in another century.
Back in the late 90s.
Yes.
And here we still are chit-chatting and pondering. So let me fast forward to how we got here today. So let's see. It's been about a year. No, what month is it? July of last year, we finally launched the podcast. You and I stay in touch, so you knew that this is something I've been talking about for years. Probably had planted the seed of like, might need some music for this, or, but I'm somebody who's got a lot of ideas all the time, and I don't always implement them. But finally, we got serious about this, and Ashley and I were working on launching it. And it's always been on my mind for whatever reason that to do a podcast, you got to have some intro music. Like that was a big piece of it. So we record our intro and our outro, and in whatever platform we use, it comes with all these canned, music situations. So she picked one, and I listened to it. I was like, absolutely not. What other options are there? So we found a piece that I got okay enough with. You know how picky I am.
Yeah.
but got okay enough with that we could launch the podcast. I sent it to a couple of people, and I think one of them in particular was like, love it. And what about that music in the beginning? I was like, I know.
That's not what you want to hear.
I know. We could do better. And even my family. And so I was like, okay, we got to figure it out. We got to make our own music. I wanted my own music. I'm like, turns out I know a guy. I know a guy. So I'm thinking I need like 12 seconds of instrumental music. So I'm like, hey, or actually, I think before we even launched the podcast, I was like, the music on the podcast is not awesome. I need some, what do you have laying on the cutting room floor? Is that the right words?
Yeah.
That I can just use for this. Like, give me some scraps that I can patch on this podcast. And you generously looked around and sent me some things. And I forget why I was like, not it.
I didn't have any, like, you wanted fully produced, versions of things. And I just had scraps of ideas in my phone. I don't have fully realized versions of them.
Or scraps of things that already were something else. Like if it had been produced already, it probably was on a path to become.
Well, that's what I meant. I could either give you a produced thing that wasn't using a podcast, but it was like,
but it was used somewhat right. Like, oh, this was on my album, and I was like,
or a fresher thing that is not
scratchy,
the quality you wanted for your podcast.
And I just remember being like, no, it can't be that because you use that somewhere, and I want my own thing. So I wanted my own thing. I've just learned a lot. We'll just say that 100 times before we get started on this. And that is often true. I'll have an idea and I'll be like, let's go do it. And then I'm going to learn a billion things in the middle about how to get there. So either way, whatever you had available to me, I was not going to work. And so I was like, we have to make something. And so you said, okay. And I thought that meant you would go make something.
That was going to take 12 seconds and then.
I don't know. And like, just, like kind of here's the vibe. Like, just give me, like, go away and do ever what you do all the time for your whole life.
I could have done that, but it didn't feel like the thing to do.
Well, and we're like, well, F it, let's just do a whole song.
Right.
Still in that model. So I'm like, fine, we'll do that. So I still imagine that what that means is we're going to chat and I'm going to give you some ideas about what I think it is. And then you go away and write it and then come back and I tell you if I like it or not. That is not how it went.
That is not how it went. I didn't want it to go that way. If this is your podcast, it's your dream. It's so integrally you that yeah, you had to be involved. If I just wrote something you weren't gonna love it, no matter what.
You're like, I know you well enough.
Had to be in the room first of all, because otherwise it would have been 7,000 edits.
You're like, I don't have time to keep sending you stuff you don't like.
But really, I mean, that's joking aside. Yeah, I just felt like you needed to be a part of the thing, and you were a great co-writer. It was like being in a professional co-writing session.
Sure,
it was.
Well, let's talk about that. So we wrote a song. I don't know if we've said that specifically yet out loud.
Yes, we wrote a song.
We wrote a song called "Stand in the Hand."
We weren't really original with the title.
We were so original. I name everything. I like brand consistency. So yeah, again, we wrote a song, which is interesting for me because Heather has never written a song and didn't really understand how the process worked, and is now going to be working with someone who, since they were in elementary, middle school, has been writing songs. Process-wise, for me, it was very Andy, for sure.
In what way?
Well, I think so. We wrote it in 3 Zoom sessions, as I recall. I had some urgency around it because I was hoping that we were going to launch the podcast with the Tinky Tink intro that we had, but then quickly replace it with this. So again, I had no sense of how long it was going to take. Again, I thought we were going to show up on one podcast. I was going to give you some ideas. You're going to go do it, turn it back in. We'll be good to go. So I think I was humbled very quickly. Well, first of all, I got educated that no, I was going to be part of the process the whole time. And that felt scary I guess. I remember in the very beginning, I mean, I got emotional and probably really frustrated because it was clear to me that I didn't actually have a lot of clarity about what I wanted the song to be.
Yeah.
The and is a big thing. Like, and as much as you were just talking about, like, your discipline, I mean, it almost feels like a scientific, you're like, it can't be this and this. It has to be this narrow. And just, I was like, maybe my idea is not fleshed out enough for us to be here. Maybe I need to go away and get clarity. And then I felt frustrated. And I just want to say, your level of patience with this whole situation was remarkable.
Well, thank you.
Because you're like, it's fine. You kept being like, it's fine. You're fine. I think I've not done anything lately. Let me think about that's true. I'm kind of like you. I keep getting better at the thing I already know how to do in most cases. To put myself in, I've never done this with somebody who's like, it's all that they do, aside from like, I'm going to learn blacksmithing, but that's low stakes, right? Like, so I make something terrible, it doesn't matter. This mattered a lot.
Right.
I'm curious what that initial process was like for you, though, to work with somebody who's like, I don't even know. Remember, you were like, well, let me color code. I was like, what's supposed to rhyme?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I write with a lot of people, and I mean, these days I typically write mostly with like, super pro people that have been doing it for a long time. But I'll still write with people that I just enjoy as a human that are like, hey, would you write a song with me? Would you write a song with me? I just love the craft of it, and sometimes the best songs come from like.
So you were practice working with.
I have practice working with a lot of,
Yeah.
I don't even want to say like just inexperienced songwriters. Some of them are great inexperienced songwriters. And knowing you as a creative human and a smart human, I wasn't worried about it at all. I knew it might feel tangly to you and
Yeah,
be
it did.
kind of a tough process, but I'm like, this is the process. We're gonna get through it. Don't doubt what we're doing. That what we have is valuable. It's gonna take a little elbow grease.
Well, and I find actually a parallel to what you just said to my work is I trust the process, right? I know in my head kind of where the thing is headed. I know it's going to get messy before it gets explained. I'm like, it's going to feel like we're cleaning out a closet. Like it's about to get messier before it gets clear. I promise we'll get there. You have in your head like what this is all supposed to go and be like. I have nothing.
Right.
So to trust the process. And so it was really helpful when you're like, because I'm like, how are we doing? Are we failing? I want to win. Are we failing? Is this terrible? And you're like, it's good. So that I need it. It's just interesting. Like in my life, I don't need constant reassurance on everything, but you're sort of like, it's okay. Because we had one session and we didn't finish it. And I'm like, were we supposed to finish it today? Like, how long does it normally take?
I mean, some people would say yes, but like to me, I don't have a timer on it. It's just like, did we do something of value that we can pick up the next time? Then it was a success and we need to come back to it. Sometimes they fall out in 25 minutes, but that's not normally the case for me.
Well, and I think perhaps if I had come to the table with more than a title.
Well, I will say this. Typically, this is not overgeneralized, but typically an inexperienced songwriter, where they miss is trying to put too much into one bag.
Which we had a lot of chat about.
But the point of this song is standing the and with this entire pocket that I already knew going in, like just conceptually.
We were singing about the messiness and
you're
the bigness.
going, we are the world. So we're trying to, I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
That type of thing. It's like, this is going to be tough for 6 professional songwriters to not let this get out of our hands. And for somebody who's never, written a song, it's like, it's going to be extra, extra hard. So that's why I was like, we are doing something difficult, but we'll get it. Just hang in there.
And I think what I had to do is just think out loud and basically just like, here's what the and means to me. And I would get frustrated because I couldn't say it. And then I would just like TED talk about it. And you're like, well, why can't we just say that? I'm like, I don't know. What can we say? So that was helpful for me just to be like, I'm going to say what it means to me. And then you help me figure out how to squeeze it down. Once it had a structure, it was a lot easier. I mean, you really did give me, because I think, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, this sort of open ambiguity, hugeness, and then structure and how they really can work together. To me, structure can help create, right? Kind of like your discipline is like, once I understand the container, A, chorus, B, chorus, whatever. Because even thinking about what needs to rhyme, it's so different. I almost said I was a writer, and then I'm like, that's not true. I write things. So the words are not a problem. But in this, it's not the same as just writing words. I don't do poetry necessarily, so I was used to that. But I'd be like, well, I like these words. And you're like, I can't sing that.
Well, yeah, there's melody and phrasing.
There's
and
no
that
space.
you don't have in just the writing or talking.
But at that point, because I think there are people, I think Rob talked about this on one of the early podcasts because he does some music stuff, but he thinks of the music first and then adds words later.
It can go either way.
Right. And so we were very much starting with words. So I don't have a sense of how that's going to translate musically to know what you can sing and what you can't sing. So
when
that
it's something like this, I prefer to start with the words because I want to make sure that we've said what you want to say. And I should be able to make it the music. We could Rubik's Cube the music until we find one that we're both happy with, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, nothing wrong with starting with the music first, but
it's just a different process, right? So that just was clear to me that was a piece of it that was, and in that case, it was a matter of you, like I had nothing to do with my part of.
I like that. I don't like that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Or it's more like
Well, there were some interesting adjectives used
and sounds.
I
found that I'm like, not da-da-da, but like I want it to feel like a lot of body. I want it to feel deeper down. I don't want it to feel up here. So that was interesting. Just language barrier in doing this is I don't know how to say what I need to say. So I'm going to
we got there.
Do the best that I can.
It conveyed the message you intended.
I think so. Another learning for me in the writing of this was I think I'm so caught up in like, what's the truth? And does this represent the truth of what I think or believe? And the more even I do a podcast or certainly a song, there's not enough space ever for the whole thing.
Right.
And so it was, right, you're like, because I'm like, that's true. But then also this, and we don't talk about how people are connected to each other. And that's a whole nother part of the and. And you're like, you were like, that'll be a 12-minute song.
Right. Well, I somewhere along the way, I've taught a lot of classes on songwriting. And what I realized in doing that one time was, let's just forget music for a second and imagine your songs or whatever message each song has for the audience. And you're showing up in Cleveland and they give you a podium. Mm-hmm. Well, the message in a song typically is around 3.5 minutes. If you take the intro music out, the outro music out, and all the in-between parts, that's down to about 2.5 minutes. Then if you take the repeated choruses out that don't really give new information, that's another minute out. You have a minute or a minute and a half to tell a concise story to an audience of people that don't know you. That is not enough time to be going down dirt roads. You have to sound like you know what you're saying and say it immediately and with conviction. So,
and I think that's what was hard for me is you said that. And in the beginning, I did not have that level of focus. I don't think.
So a lot of times people go, well, you just write the truth. You just write the truth. That's factual. That's right. That's what you need to do. But
a slice of it.
Love is good is true. But if that's where you're starting with the song, it has to be more concise than that, or you will watch an audience of people just zone out because it sounds like you
like you're trying to say.
What are you telling? Why are we having a symposium about this? We already all know that. It's once it gets so vague, you have to get that's really the craft, I think, is finding out how to be nuanced.
Well, and to be nuanced about a topic that, like you said, is sing me a song about human complexity. It was I think it's just tricky to try to frame.
Just to say that, I mean, so in this instance, we're starting with stand in the and of the bigger things in your life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I already knew just from the get-go, sentiment and
like what the point was.
That this was a big, vague thing.
So you knew what you were signing up for.
Yeah. So what I mean is it was going to be a rougher journey than normal songwriting from the get-go.
So you're saying it was rough?
No, not you were rough. That
it was.
The song was going to be rougher to make. So I was proud of you for sticking in there because I know it was a tough battle.
Also, what's true for me is I am somebody who would say, I'm not a group project like wordsmith. I specifically, even in the work that I do now, I'm like, well, we're not going to talk about the word. We're not going to wordsmith this together because I just do better with that privately. Like the way my brain works, I can talk out loud, but if I need to think and make words make sense together, I usually do that by myself. So even just the process of trying to make my brain like group pick some words out, because you saw we'd put it in the Google Doc and then go away and I'd like work on it by myself. Another challenging part of it is like I work on it by myself and I think something's pretty awesome. And then I get back to it and you've cut it out or it's not going to fit or something else. So this practice of not being attached, right? That it's not precious.
Like they say, kill your darlings. That's a thing.
Yeah. And creativity. So that, again, letting go of stuff that I'm into is not always my jam, but this practice of like, it just doesn't fit here. And maybe
that's really important. That's what I try to tell people all the time. And that it's like that line is amazing. They're not downing this line. The line has validity.
Doesn't fit here.
It doesn't go put that in this next song because that will be nuanced to a different idea over there.
And maybe that's why this felt heavier for me a little bit.
Because there may or may not be another place.
Like, I think this may be the one. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Whereas you're like, great, I'll put that Lego block back in the bin and we'll assemble it into something else.
Well, that goes back to the bigger thing, like you were saying, the discipline of getting up every day and writing and writing.
Like I got a bucket of Lego blocks to work with.
I'm not stopping, right? There's going to be more songs coming. So it makes the process easier because you don't have to hold on to that line.
Right.
As tightly.
And even in this, when it's just like there's not room for everything and what makes the most sense. So I was continuing to think about if I only get a handful of Legos of ands, which ones do we put in here? I mean, at some point we got so stuck because in it's not only what are the right ones, but they got to rhyme with something else.
Right.
So at one point we're just turned around looking at the painting and I'm just reading those out and we're Googling what rhymes with this. So some of them aren't how I would articulate it normally.
But it's also a matter of looking at it as like, is this line more important to me than how it's going to resonate with somebody hearing it? Like you got to constantly remind
audience
yourself,
awareness.
Like if you've played a million songs in front of a million people, you start being like, this feels like it's going to land more.
I know you love it, and no one knows what you're talking about.
I don't mean, I'm not trying to big boy you. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying like that's part of the craft. And be like, this feels smoother and it lands,
And that was an interesting tension in the process too, I think, because I think we both really wanted the other one to like it.
For sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
And it was the goal from the beginning that this was going to be something that we used or shared or did something with. We'll come back to the fact that we still don't really know what to do with it, but it wasn't just let's do this because I think it would be fun to do this. It was I want to figure out, I'm so passionate about this concept. I want to figure out how to say it in a way through a song that might resonate differently. So this audience awareness piece of it is part of the filter of like, if I use kaleidoscope as a metaphor, I use kaleidoscopism and I'll just like talk through my metaphors. Here's how I describe it sometimes. And you're like, I think that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Do you have a favorite part of the song?
I mean, kaleidoscope is also broken glass is pretty.
Is that your favorite line in it?
That's probably my favorite line. You said it and I was just like, oh, that's brilliant.
And I think you think it's brilliant for different, I mean, when we talked about this, I think you maybe even think about the metaphor a little bit differently than I do, but I agree. So I think the first part, the first three, I don't know how you organize it, lines.
Stanza, whatever, however you want to say it.
Gratitude and grief at the same time. Again, as somebody like, I just feel like that whole the first three lines kind of sum up a big piece of what it's like for me just to be in the world. I'm grateful and grieving something, letting go of something all the time, and fear and belief. And again, I wouldn't normally call that fear and belief, but the way it worked out. And then kaleidoscope, as you know, not only is awesome for broken glass reasons, but because it's a group of butterflies.
Right.
I don't know that I knew that when we put it in there, but I love it even more. I also like how you say, the grittiness. I think I've probably even said this. I want a little like Stevie Ray Vaughan, like kind of.
Yeah.
because I wanted it to feel gritty and kind of messy.
Yeah, which is right. That's part of the podcast.
Right.
The
It's
mess
on
of
brand.
life.
Right. And on mess. So it's an interesting, we kind of wrestled with that a little bit too when we're figuring out how to finish it.
It's also as structured as it sounds that I write. It's also fun to write songs. It's still an art form, and just to be a kid a little bit and throw some paint at the wall. And I remember that that chorus going to that thing. I was not until I was just playing around and being silly, and you were like, "Yeah, that," and I was like, "That," and you were like, "Yeah, that," and I'm like, "For this song," and you were like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay," and then the more I played it, I was like, oh, "Yeah, that is what this."
That's true. I forgot it was an accident.
Yeah, I was just goofing. I was like, "Oh, this would be silly. We should do it like this."
Why did you think it would be silly?
I don't know. I mean,
because it felt too
at the
like
time we were playing more like
chill,
mellifluous, like flowy, chill kind of stuff because it fits the thing. Stand in the end of it all, and then I went to like a bluesy thing. And you were like, "Yeah, that," and I was like, "Oh no, I was just." That wasn't actually a suggestion. You're like, "No, I love it." And I'm like, "Oh."
Well, because back to I don't have the words. I like the juxtaposition of like, let it be flowy and then gritty and bluesy, because that's just the texture of it all. Right. So I do remember.
No, I love it now. I don't think it could have been any better than it is now, but that's the beauty of collaboration. Because some like that type of thing I would have missed on doing, because I would not have done that on my own.
And again, with the patience, you're just like riffing, like just keep playing stuff. And it's like I press scan on the radio and I just let it all roll through until I hear what I want. And then I stop.
How about this? How about this?
No.
How about this?
Let it roll. Let it roll. Yes. But I love that part. And then it was interesting to kind of get to the working it out and like, are we done? Do you like?
Yeah, we worked so hard on it that we got to the end. Like, I think this is it. Like, I
don't think you like it. I'm like, I think I like.
Well,
do you like?
It was super important to me because I'm used to also people that are used to killing their darlings, and, so it's like nobody's precious and we're just going. But like this,
it felt precious.
This is very important,
but
to you,
really,
and it was really important to me. One, like I said, because it's you. I want to make sure if your podcast was about whatever. But I also think this is a really important and beautiful idea that you're doing, and I don't want to write some garbage song.
I know, but I think I had to let it even settle into myself. I was like, because I'm recovering perfectionist, so I'm like, I think I love it. Like, can I say that? Does that mean we're done? Because like what finished is, what done is, as somebody who wants to like massage it forever, I didn't know what else to do to it. So I was like, I don't know what to change. That's how I decided it was done. I was like,
what else to change?
I don't know what else I would do. So we're going to call it done.
I'll take it.
And then I love it. And then, so at that point, by the time all this had gone down, we had several podcasts out already. And I'm like, well, we wrote a song, but do we still have, we still don't have the 12 seconds of produced instrumental that I need.
Right.
So I was like, what do we do with it now? Wait, what did we try? Oh, I know.
So, well, I mean, basically at that point, it's like we could go in the studio and record, but you were already far down the rabbit.
Don't even say that. I was ready to go in the studio. I was like,
well, I mean,
yeah,
but also I'm gonna have gigs to,
exactly. You were busy.
I was busy, unfortunately. I couldn't drive it all and record like that week, so I wasn't blaming you.
I know, it's okay, but I did. Again, I honored that I had some urgency. I was like, let's figure this out. Except my urgency led to us not really figuring it out, but down a whole pondery trail about AI.
Right.
There's like, well, we don't have time to get in the studio and do all that. Just, I mean, for a lot of reasons. So we're like, all right, well, what if AI was around the music of it?
Right.
Or you sent me. So I guess we wrote it. I said, yes, that thing that you thought was a joke. I want the song to sound like that. And then you did just like this, like I thought it would be the whole time. You went away and put the words and the music together, and you sent me a clip that just says rough idea, which may be the one that people are going to hear today. But after that, you like tried to run it through AI. You ran the whole thing through AI.
Well, we're in a strange wild west with AI. To me, it was nothing but a party trick when it was just like make up some things that sound whatever. It didn't have any of the guts that we love in human creation.
Mm-hmm.
Then it evolved and evolved and evolved, and then it got where it can perfectly cover your song. So it's your melody as a writer, your words, your phrasing, your everything, just make it sound fully produced. And I think that's great to hear the song. I personally still don't ever want to try to pass that off to the public as humans made this. I feel like that's being a little, it's sneaky. It's not, shady, right? Now, does everybody feel that way? Absolutely not. They're and we don't know at what speed or level or who's willing to. I mean, there's plenty of Spotify bands.
It's going to put like the music behind it. Right. If you're like, we're going to have you sing it, but then we're going to run some drums and some whatever else.
Right. Which if you were going to if I was just going to produce a more EDM hip hoppy version with me singing over it, all I would be doing would be taking samples from other things and creating.
So we're already,
it's a little bit of a gray area, but I wouldn't want it to be sounding like a studio band and be AI.
Well, but we played with that. We listened to some versions. Like you sent me some versions it was like female, but there are in a file somewhere the female country singer version of the song.
Well, that's where I think it's useful and fun for me as a writer.
It's to be like, what style could it be?
Yeah, like listen to all these styles. And then, if you want to hear a real version of it, let's go in the studio with real people and do it.
And we did that. We tried that. And I was like, I like the rough idea the best of them all. So that's still get back to the plot of this whole story. That does not leave us still with podcast intro, outro music. So we kind of sat on it for a while of like, I don't know what else to do. I'm like, we'll just record a podcast and you can sing it and at least it will be out there. Meanwhile, it's just, I listen. The audience of one listens to the rough idea version when I feel like I just can't, like whatever the thing is. I'm like, enough of this and business. Like, this is too much. So it's like my pump up song.
Oh, that makes you feel good.
Like an anthem of like, I hear that you say that. But when I listen to it, I'm like, well, once upon a time I thought I could, or I thought I did. So maybe I still can.
That's really cool. And I'm glad that you have that as ownership, not just like somebody wrote a song I like, but it's like because you can go like
it's
time
like going
capsule.
Back in your journal to be like, well, this day you said I can stand in the end. And then recently, though, right before we did this, I was like, what if we're wrong? Like, what if we can't stand in the end? And what did you say? Do you remember?
No.
Something about how, because kind of like, not the song doesn't have to feel true all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right. And not even for me, like sometimes, because I was like, if it doesn't resonate with people because they're like, this doesn't feel right to me. But you were saying it's not even going to feel true to you all the time. Like songs are a moment.
Songs are a moment. So that's back to the thing where I was saying about standing at a podium in Cleveland. So it needs to be nuanced and specific. The same artist could sing a very genuinely honest song that says out of sight, out of mind. And the next song could be absence makes the heart grow fonder. Those aren't lies. Mm-hmm. It's just, we've both had those feelings at different seconds in life. And the song is only dealing with that emotion at that second. So like time changes how you feel about things. Mm-hmm. So it seems like a drastic contradiction, and it is, but like life moments are contradictory when you put them all together.
Well, and I guess not everybody writing a song is trying to write a song that feels true to them, right? They're just writing a song that sounds good and doing storytelling or something else. It's not necessarily, this is my life experience. I guess usually that's true, but it felt so, it's such a value to me to make sure that and I think I said this already, that I'm like telling the truth about my experience, but that any song, any podcast, even writing a book, I tried to write a book and then got distracted. But even it's not the whole story. So just to honor that only ever telling a piece, and that piece true on that day may not feel true every second of every other day. But I do love it. I'm excited to see if anybody else cares about it.
Me too.
But and also recognize that even if they like it, this is a very bizarre way to try to share it.
Well, this is back to what you said earlier. So we wrote the song. You love it. I love it. So that's one. And then stand in the and of you're also going to share it and see if it resonates with somebody else. And it's fine. That's two separate entities. It's the song for you and it's the song for them.
Well, it's going to be on this. I guess what I'm saying is certainly not typically how you would share a song is like shove it in the middle of podcast content. There are ways. I don't have to explain to you probably.
There are?
Do you want me to tell you how people share
Please tell me how to market music. I need all the help.
I don't know about marketing, but I just know that we could have put it out in a way if somebody's like, I want to listen to that song on the way to my scary meeting. They don't have to scroll an hour and 15 minutes through our conversation to get to it. Maybe we'll still do it. I still would love to do it in studio with live musicians. Y'all rock the vote.
Let's do it.
You heard it here.
Let's make it happen.
I feel like you're so busy.
I'm very
We
busy.
have another year. It took us a year to get here. If AI doesn't replace all sound by then.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because I think part of this is like, well, not what's the whole time is like, not what's the right way to do it, but what would be fun.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the metric on this so far. It's like, well, it would be fun to write a song, our own song for this. What if, let's just put it in the podcast. It'd be fun to do a podcast when you're passing by. So if you're listening and you're a musician, you want to sing this song with us, let's go.
Let's go. The choir of musicians.
I don't mean to like a choir. I mean, I don't even know who we need. Who do we have to put with it?
Out the invitation to all musicians.
All musicians. Well, I mean, maybe there's not a harp line on here. What is there?
Maybe.
Am I looking for? I feel like drums are pretty standard.
I think you're going to need the core group of
What's the core?
Drums, bass, guitar.
You would play the guitar, I guess.
Sure, I can. Unless you get whoever is here.
I'm going to find somebody better.
Well, yeah, that's not hard. You can find somebody better on this block.
I don't think so. On this block, please. Okay, so if you want to be in our band, let me know. We'll reach out.
Stand in the band.
I like it. Just come stand in the band. Meanwhile, y'all feel free to let me know if you loved our songwriting project. I don't know if I want to hear back from this one. I'm like, thank you. You've received it. We are now, the mailbox is closed.
I love it. Your foray into songwriting, you're not going to get any critique. It's like, here's the song. You're welcome for me presenting it to you. Door
it's really
closed.
Not about y'all. I really just needed to prove to myself that we could do it. And actually, at the moment we record this, we haven't shared it with anyone. So
I hate to tell you, but there is an and to writing a song, and it is the response. It is the singing of the song and the reply.
I know, but I'm like, what mechanism? I guess y'all would tell me about it on social media comments, but I don't read those. Y'all tell Ashley what you thought about it. That way she can filter it and share it with me or not, because I love it. And it really wasn't, as I think about too, and in the broader context of this, about July of last year when this podcast launched, I just had this huge surge of creative energy. Like we launched the podcast. I wanted to write the song. I started writing. It was just part of a big wave for me. And it's just fun to see it. Like this at least helps it land somewhere instead of going into the archives of projects that I started and never finished. This one at least made it out of the inbox.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to be part of the one that got out of the inbox.
That is success for this day. So I guess we'll just see. I mean, yeah, y'all hold us to that. We're going to record it somewhere. Let me know if you want to be in the band. What else was I supposed to talk about today? I have notes that I didn't look at. Y'all buy my album. I'm just kidding. This is not an announcement. We're done here. We do have part 2 of this conversation around quantum physics, and that's not the right word. Quantum computing. I'm sorry. But we should save that for next time.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody's ready to digest that right now on top of this excellent content. But all right, y'all, do let me know. Thank you for passing by today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Cheers to the courage to make things. Here is Stand in the And.
Gratitude and grief at the same time, fear and belief in the same mind. A kaleidoscope is also broken glass. Patience and reach all in one heart, passion and peace feeling both parts. There's always friction in the dance. It's not always yes or no. In the ebb and flow, I can let it all be true. Once I understand, I'm big enough to hold it all in my soul. I'm gonna show up and choose to stand in the end. Love them and go spinning in me, question and know all that I see. The night sky holds the darkness and the light. So when my hands shake, I'll remember it takes being brave to surrender to the fact that I don't have to fight. No, it's not always yes or no. In the ebb and flow, I can let it all be true. Once I understand, I'm big enough to hold it all in my soul. I'm gonna show up and choose to stand in the end. Speak and listen, soak it all in. Stand in the end. Every bit of grace and grit. Stand in the end. Messy as it gets, I'm up for this, yeah. I'm gonna stand in the end. It's not always yes or no. In the ebb and flow, I can let it all be true. Once I understand, I'm big enough to hold it all in my soul. I'm gonna show up and choose to stand in the end. I'm gonna show up and choose to stand in the end. Stand in the end.
The Stand in the And podcast is supported by Human-Centered Strategy, where we help leaders and teams build connection and strategy and complexity so that everyone can flourish. To learn more or to work with us, please visit us online at humancenteredstrategy.com or message me on LinkedIn.